Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a divided federal court approves Arizona legislative district maps. We'll hear from advanced scholars recognized for achievements in science and engineering, and we'll learn about food being harvested in an urban setting. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Science Foundation Arizona named 4 PhD candidates and early career faculty for its prestigious Bisgrove Awards, Scholar Awards, which are designed to attract and retain top science and engineering talent. Here to discuss the awards is William Harris, President and CEO of Science Foundation Arizona. And also joining us are 2 of the award recipients, Dr. Muhammed Murtaza, an early career scholar at the Translational Genomics Research Institute, and Rachel Rowe, a postdoctoral scholar at Phoenix Children's Hospital. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. Bill, we'll start with you, this Bisgrove Scholar Program. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about a program that I hope will be like the Rhodes Scholars in 20 years. Science Foundation Arizona started this program 4 years ago, named it after Jerry Bisgrove, the individual who made a major investment in Science Foundation to help us start. And he wanted us to help attract real talent to Arizona, but he wanted to be the best talent in the world.
And to do this, the awards do what?
The awards support really outstanding people for 2 years in their career to get them started and hopefully planted in Arizona for the long term and make a difference in Arizona.
And these are folks who might have started their scholarships and their intellectual career, their careers period, elsewhere or here in Arizona?
Anywhere in the world.
And it doesn't matter.
We want the talent.
And you want to keep them here
it,
too.
You bet. And so we have examples here.
We sure do. Mohammed, you're not going to be working with TGen. Talk about what you are going to be doing with TGen.
Sure. So what we're trying to do is really develop a new kind of blood test for cancers. So, and this is different from every blood test that you've seen so far because it doesn't look at the proteins that are excreted into the or shed into the blood, but actually DNA fragments.
And I was reading up on this. This is circulating tumor DNA analysis.
Yep, absolutely.
What does that mean? Right.
So we've known since about 70s or 80s now that cancer is a disease which is driven by genetic changes in the DNA. Now, every cell, when it dies or divides, sheds fragments of its DNA into the bloodstream. And if it's a cancer cell, then it sheds the mutated cancer genome into the bloodstream. And so what we're trying to do is look at that DNA in circulation and try and see whether we can identify mutations from cancer directly by looking at blood instead of a biopsy.
So basically looking at specific DNA to identify what's going on.
Absolutely. And then if you can do it from blood, if we can show you can do it from blood, the beauty of this is that you can repeat it without the need for another biopsy later on.
And this could lead to what, like DNA-based cancer blood tests?
Absolutely. That's what the eventual aim is, yes.
Wow, I want to get back to that in a second here. But Rachel, now you're working with Phoenix Children's Hospital. This sounds like traumatic brain injury, which we've been hearing a lot of in the news recently. Talk to us about what you'll be doing there at PCH.
Yeah, so I was recruited with Dr. Jonathan Lifshitz. Arizona had a need for brain injury research in Arizona, and they moved us, our entire lab came from the University of Kentucky, and we came here to start research. And so I work with the Children's Hospital, but the project itself was identified in veterans. They found that veterans were coming in long-term much later after their concussion, and that they were having problems with hormones. Different hormone levels weren't where they needed to be. And so they identified us as a partner on this project because it's also very understudied in the pediatric population, which is where a majority of concussions occur, is in children.
Yes.
And we're doing that together with the University of Arizona College of Medicine, Phoenix. So all 3 institutions in Arizona have recognized that after a brain injury, there are changes in hormones. So your endocrine system, where your hormones are produced, there's problems with it, and we're all going to come together and work on this project.
Yeah, I find this fascinating here. Endocrine dysfunction in post-brain injury. I mean, for us laymen out here, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean when you take a blood test, you see certain hormones? Does that suggest someone who doesn't know they have post-traumatic brain injury might have it?
So what it is just long-term, years after you've had a concussion, you have problems with weight gain, or you have problems with cortisol, which is something that you produce as a stress response. So basically, it's something that should be in a normally present. There's changes in it after brain injury, but it's really long term.
And so is this the kind of idea where you can diagnose make it easier to diagnose a post-traumatic brain injury, make it easier to treat? Both?
So the idea, what we're really interested in is being able to treat it. So because it identifies itself so late, so long term, what they want to be able to do is see with our model, we're going to look at it, set a model up, and be able to identify when is the problem happening.
Yes.
We see it much later, but when does the problem happen? Because if we can find when it happens, you can do hormone replacement therapy, for instance, would be a therapy that you could go in if you know when to start and where to start. So we're really starting from just the ground up. When is this happening? Why is it happening? And what can we do to give a better quality of life to individuals that have suffered from a brain injury?
And Bill, I'll get to you in a minute, but we're having a good conversation here, so I don't want you.
I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah,
I'm learning a lot.
Muhammad, I mean, what got you started in this line of work, and specifically with this DNA analysis of tumors? Was there an aha moment?
Right. So this is similar work from what I've pursued during my PhD at the University of Cambridge in England. So that's where I was just before coming here, and I think there is just there's still a lot of problems to be solved before this test can make it to the clinic. There's a variety of different applications, but it's just very attractive to see that you can then somehow monitor cancers in a very personalized manner. Which is just a very attractive feature of what we are trying to do.
And I would imagine it's somewhat attractive to see a facility like TGen and know that you can work in conjunction with them.
Oh, absolutely. So this the program I'm setting up is sort of based half at TGen and half at Mayo Clinic, and it's in Scottsdale.
Yes.
And it's really using the genomics facilities, which are really state-of-the-art at TGen, and working with patients from Mayo Clinic to make this happen.
You see yourself staying in Arizona a while?
I think so. I mean, things are going quite well at the moment, and
yeah, all right.
Why not?
That's what Bill wants to hear over here. And as far as getting you interested in post-traumatic brain injuries and this endocrine system, was this something that you had targeted, something that interests you specifically, or something you discovered along the way?
I think that I just discovered it along the way. When I first started out, I was actually looking at sleep, whether or not you should sleep after concussion. I did most of my doctorate degree on that, which is a very acute response to brain injury. And so after I got to look at something that happens immediately, changes in sleep, I really wanted to grow in where I'm at in my career and start looking at something that's a much more long-term consequence. And I think something that's really unique to Arizona is that all these institutions want to work together.
Yes.
As he said, he works with TGen and the Mayo Clinic, and I work with the VA, the Children's Hospital, and the University of Arizona College of Medicine, because I think for research science in particular to be successful, it has to be collaborative, not competitive. So Arizona does a good job of letting everyone come together and work for one common cause.
So with that in mind, you see yourself sticking around Arizona
Absolutely.
a while. Okay.
Absolutely.
Bill, and she did mention this collaborative effort. That is so important, and especially if it attracts folks like this, it's even more important.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to comment on is that Muhammad has already got a medical degree, and he's going to be getting his PhD degree, and having that kind of educated person coming from Pakistan, to Cambridge, one of the best universities in the world, then over here. And then you have a young scientist working on the brain who grew up in a very rural part of Kentucky. She got a little bit of an accent.
A little bit, just a little bit.
I understand that accent because I'm from the South. And she grew up, and many of the kids in Arizona grew up in very rural areas where you're not expected to even go to high school. She beat the odds and did everything.
And so, again, these are the kinds of folks that the Bisgrove Scholars targeting, hoping will stay here, certainly while they are here, will make a difference.
Will make a difference. Then we've got the universities, we've got TGen, we've got the other laboratories helping to recruit and bring the talent, and they compete for these positions. So this is a terrific thing that our board is very, very heavily involved in, and they're excited by this as well.
And real quickly, Bisgrove Scholars every year?
Every year. This is the fourth year.
Fourth year. All right, well, congratulations to all, and good luck as well with your research. This is important work, and it's good to have you here doing that work. Bill, good to see you again.
Thank you very much, Ted.
Thank you.
Appreciate being here.